Check, check. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. So this video, I want to talk about doing magic without calling on no spirits. Part 2. Alright, so I want to help make some of this stuff plain. What I like most about teachers like Brother Panic, Bobby Hemmett, and the work that the Gallery of Magic puts out, I like most that even though they deal in advanced magic, they still break it down and deliver it to people like myself in a mundane type of way. Like they make it common sense in a way where it resonates with a person like myself who haven't spent all the years and years studying and experimenting and trial and errors and all of that. Like, that's what I like most about them, is because they put in a lot of work and then deliver it to us in a way to where like they know how to speak our language, right? And in this occult shit, a lot of people still like they want to, like feed you with a long spoon and shit, like, So what I'm talking about, so for an example, like, here's a book from the Gallery of Magic, Chaos Magic. I haven't done any work out this book yet. I ain't even read the book yet, or at least I don't remember. I forgot I had it, but I just got so many books. But my point is that in most of these like Gallery of Magic books, you'll run into something like this when it comes to the ritual part. When it's time to get to work, it'll usually like be a talisman and maybe like some names. And this talismans, because the majority of the Gallery of Magic books deal with working with spirits, these talismans are typically like a gateway that you use to connect to that spirit or group of spirits. But my point being is that what they did was they take advanced science and then they broke it down and they put it in a form where it can be usable for a person like me. Alright, so they make the process as simple probably as they can. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do here for like the absolute beginner or anyone who can find this video useful. But I'm not talking about advanced magic and trying to make advanced magic simple. It's levels to everything. I ain't up there yet. I don't know where I'll stop at, but but I'm not talking about no advanced shit. I'm talking about like ground roots, like moms and pops, basic magic shit. Alright, so like I said, this ain't dealing with summoning up no spirits or none of that shit, but it's about adding power to your intention. All right. It's about just tapping into the laws of creation. The energy is available to you if you so choose to use it. So I want to help remove some of the spookism and type shit that might be keeping somebody on the fence, or even for somebody that's just getting their foot wet, and So I want to talk about the elements, but I want to first start with talking about the law of assumption. I want to start with that because that is the foundation for magic. The law of assumption being taking your desire and creating a scenario in your mind where you go and actually live out that reality, not as a future event, but to live it in your imagination as if it's happening right here, right now, in that moment, along with possessing the feeling that you would have if it was actually real. The feeling. Alright, so that's the foundation. Everything else, and that process is powerful enough on its own. That's practical magic on its own. So now everything else is just about, my bad. Everything else is just about building onto that energy, making it more powerful. Because the more powerful it is, the better chance it has, or the more impactful it is on the subconscious. And the more impactful it is on the subconscious, the better chance it's going to have of manifesting in your physical life. It starts to be more kind of simple when you really start to get the basic concept of what's going on here. Alright, so with the elements, and when I say that, I'm talking about earth, water, air, fire. Let's keep it simple. Why these elements matter is because if we're talking about manifestation, then we're talking about creation. And these are the laws that, or the elements that govern over creation. So, to make it make sense, everything is energy, right? At the core, at the end of the day, everything is energy. All right, so water, fire, air, earth. You can't, as a human here on this realm, you can't live without any of those things. We are literally composed of those elements. I mean, you add the spirit in there, but you can't live without water. You can't live without fire. Let that sun disappear, right? Let you not have no body heat, right? So you ain't living without fire. You ain't living without air. Shit, we can't even live. Right, you living what? A few minutes, some minutes without air, right? And the earth, we're earth beings in this form right now. Like we can't live without the earth, not as a human. And these are the elements that govern everything in creation that we create. These are the elements that we are creating with, that are. So, to get a basic understanding of the nature of each element, because I ain't about to make no long drawn out video trying to like lecture and go into detail about this element and what it does and all of that shit. Like, I think the basic understanding be like, really, if you just, whatever element, just pay attention to how that energy, to the nature of that energy in the physical. Like the nature of fire, like to burn shit up. Fire consumes. Fire is aggressive, right? Fire is very active. Fire is related to destruction, right? It also keeps us warm. Shit can't grow without it. Like, if you just pay attention to the elements and how they operate here, like that's how you get an understanding of the nature of that energy and how to make it useful in your manifestation practices. You don't have to do no, because now we're getting into ceremonial magic, right? Meaning we're getting into involving things outside of that thought, that desire, that idea in your mind, that intention, right? At first, you start with just that base, that soul, just that intention. And now we getting into some physical things and how to add to it. So that's why I say right now we're getting into the ceremonial part of magic. Hold on, I gotta blow my nose. Yeah. So I know that water is heavy on dealing with emotional energy. Like air definitely deals with the intellectual self. So maybe business matter, things that relate. And this is just me saying, like I'm saying, like you could read a whole encyclopedia like just on one element alone. So I'm just saying, like, I'm just trying to think like the most common thing that you first learn when you start reading about them. And Earth is dealing with the material. But anyway, because it's not about education about that. I'm just saying all that to say, just in different ways that, or a general understanding of why you would involve them or this in the process, because they're already in the process anyway. It's just you're unconscious and unaware of it, and as a result probably aren't in control of it. So you can do something as simple as this without trying to be all fancy and shit. Say before you go into that meditation, into the law of assumption practice, right? And this doesn't have to be done just while you're falling asleep. This is what I'm talking about when we start talking about ceremonial ritual. This is you taking a moment out, set aside to do this. It might take 10 minutes, might take an hour, however that's on the individual and whatever kind of whatever, like your own thing. But an idea is something you can do. It's like, I got this, right? Say before, if I'm doing a ritual, before I go into that meditation, before I go into that law of assumption, then I'll acknowledge the elements. You can get as fancy as you want, or you can do this just by, you don't even need anything physical, but the physical paraphernalia, it does aid, right? In kind of giving the conscious mind a productive role to play and kind of whatever. It's a physical representation of that spiritual component. Alright, so like a chalice is something that always, the cups represent water. You can simply set that on your altar or on your table in front of you, or just set on the desk in front of you before you go into your meditation. Another idea, like, this was something I use time to time, is just a jar of water. It used to, like the last, I just put water when it rained real hard. I just went in there and put some rainwater in it. Just something to make it feel more magical than just some regular tap water, right? But this, I'm just saying, like, physical representation that you can just use to represent things. This is a jar of crystals, all stones, rocks, whatever. Rocks, stones, so that gives you, an earth element, or a seashell that could be used just as to represent the water element. More crystals. A lot of incense for the air. Light a candle for fire, or whatever, right? Like whatever makes sense, whatever corresponds to that idea of that element. Going beyond, like, you can acknowledge, along with inviting in the energy of the elements, so to keep on track, just to wrap that part of it up, something I would do, like, could invite in that energy of those elements. And then once you gotta block out the outside world as you doing this shit, right? This is the parts like when you want to start getting on a one track, like you want to start concentrating on what it is that you manifesting, so you can bring that energy into it, right, with the elements, and then start to go into that meditation and imagining yourself living out that desire, whatever this is that you want to manifest, along with holding on to that feeling, right? And that alone, practice makes perfect. So I'm not just talking. And it's called a ritual because you do the shit over and over and over and over and over, right? Ritualize the magic. But once you start building, you'll see that like something simple as that, even as silly as it may sound, or as superstitious as it may sound, though I feel we went past the superstition by going into the science of it and why you would even do it in, right? Remembering the subconscious communicates through symbology. That's what it's all about. All of this shit is about, it's about trying to, what would be the word? You're just using all of this shit to represent an idea to the subconscious mind, speaking to it in the language that it understands, right? So certain things, all right, now moving past that, say you're not into the elements or even using the elements, however you want to do it, you still can add more energy. You add on to the energy by, and all of this shit, it kind of take you back to where you got to go back to having that childlike imagination, that childlike mind, because you think about it, like all of this shit right here is childlike. You dealing with imaginary shit, right? Using ideas like this and actually using it in a way where you find it to be effective, kind of like a kid having his lucky shoes, lucky socks, right? This is all the same shit. So, moving on though, just to throw out some different ideas of just shit. Like this is one thing, it's just, can you see it? That's Uncle Sam. I used to think I haven't done it yet, I'm going to do it. But the reason why I got Uncle Sam, because of what he represents. That's the biggest pimp. Literally, this is the biggest pimp on the fucking planet. So that energy, right, being used, because it's always used, not always, is mostly though used on us in a negative way, in a vampire way, where we're just giving to it, right? We can also take that same energy and use it way, you know what I'm saying, to where we can pull from that energy and pull in our reality instead of always giving our energy out to it. These things exist for a reason. Like Uncle Sam was made a symbol for a fucking reason. This is all about subconscious programming. They just doing the shit on a collective level. I ain't gotta tell you what he represents, and everybody already knows. We know the energy, right? But we can use all of this shit in our favor. And what I was about to say is, I never always thought about doing a ritual and just dressing up in that moment, that ritual, because it's of course going to be like a prosperity ritual or a money ritual, and dressing up as Uncle Sam, because it's just about becoming, right? We're not talking about worshiping shit, worshiping the energy. It's about becoming it. Another one is the Monopoly Man. What does he symbolize? Right? We're talking, these are collective archetypes. Like this energy, it exists already in the collective consciousness. So, something to think about. I think I talked enough for now. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm out.